You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
Mighty Blue on the Appalachian Trail, the ultimate midlife crisis. Join Steve and his guests every week as he staggers from Georgia to Maine.
Hi everybody, thanks for coming back to the podcast. I'm into my third week on the Appalachian Trail now, and I think I've become, more and more accustomed to what it's like to be out here for an extended period of time. Each day I seem to gain an extra confidence and my legs feel stronger. I'm going up mountains with more ease. Now, I wouldn't say it was easy, and I certainly stop along the way all the time. But now that I've adapted this way of getting to the top mountains, I don't worry about them anymore. I know this trail goes down, I know it goes level, I know it goes up, and when it goes up in front of me, I just work towards making it work, and it seems to be working so far. This is going to be a shorter show than normal, as there are only 3 days to report upon, and one of which was a 0 day. Nevertheless, I've had adventures, probably more adventures at this stage, in fact, than I did in my previous through hikes. I thought about why that might be, and in some ways it could be the podcast. Quite a few people seem to know who I am, at least, and those I've met seem to have heard of me from others. And I'm not saying that, I promise you, in a braggadocious sort of way. More that I'm embracing my role as a podcaster and finding that community that I've been looking for. And people, when I ask them to be on the podcast, are only too willing to share their story. So I'm grateful for that. But we're going to get the show started by going back a few days, in fact to Sunday, and hear about day number 14. But before we do, let's hear from our sponsor, Polar Steps. If you're heading out on a long hike this year, which I am, I've got something I think you're going to love. It's called Polar Steps. It's a travel tracking app that's going to become a favourite with hikers. You set your start date, let it run quietly in the background, and it maps your entire journey automatically, all on your own beautiful spinning 3D globe. And don't worry, the tracking feature uses about 4% of your battery on a single charge, so it's not going to kill your phone when you're out there. You can add photos and short journal entries as you go, so your map shows you where you were and your words remind you of what that day actually felt like. There's a light social layer too. Family and friends can follow along, or you can keep it completely private. As every hiker says, hike your own hike. And when you're done, you can relive the whole thing in the app or turn it into a stunning coffee table book with your route, stats, photos and stories. And did I tell you that it's entirely free to download and use? The only time you'll be paying anything is if you decide to turn your trip into a book. That's Polar Steps. Track it now, treasure it forever. Day 14, a 0 day at Chica and Sunsets. This was my first 0 day I'd had, and the weather was going to be lousy. Seemed like a good time to take a 0, so I did just that. Chica and Sunsets invited me to stay at their place, so I took them up on it. But a word first about Fancy's place. I slept well for the first time in a few days, but the real joy of this place is that it's set up as an Airbnb with all those sort of qualities. The beds are comfortable, everything's squeaky clean, and the shower really hits you. And just off the bedroom is the apartment living space with a kitchen, small dining table, and the most comfortable sofa I've ever been on. There's a big TV and a record player with plenty of good music. It's a real gem. I used one of the spare biscuits and gravy freeze-dried meals for breakfast that Eric had bought to give me the previous day. He knows how much I love biscuits and gravy, and so I thought I'd eat them for breakfast, so why not? And I did it. But then I did something I never imagined I'd do again. I went to Easter Mass. It's funny, and I can't really explain why I wanted to do it, but for a few days now, I'd planned to go to an Easter Mass. And as many of you know, I don't have faith, but I respect those who do. And I've always been attracted to the Easter story, especially that one. And I've always enjoyed the homilies, the gospel readings, and music at this time of year. And I love singing along, to be honest with you. Fancy kindly drove me to the St. Francis of Assisi Church, and I sat through quite a long Mass, actually. It went on for about, I don't know, I was there for about an hour and a quarter, and I left because Fancy was waiting for me outside. But I felt very contented, I say, and calm to be part of the celebration. I still don't have the faith, but I once more felt the kind of community that I've been yearning for. I must say the Vietnamese priest did start to harangue the congregation a little bit, telling us that if we didn't accept Christ, we're in the hand of Satan. I wonder what the people behind me thought as I kept shaking my head. I don't think I'm in the hand of Satan, but I guess you never know, do you? Fancy came back to pick me up, and we went back to her place where I interviewed her for the podcast, which I'll play after this. I packed everything up, which had dried now, and Fancy drove me to Chica and Sunsets place somewhere else in Franklin. Chica and Sunset, or Greg and Jen, used to have a hiker hostel and have turned it into an Airbnb, and it too is another gem. Chica showed me around and left me to myself for a couple of hours while I prepared and released the podcast. As many of you probably noticed recently, the sound quality wasn't terribly well balanced, so I took out a subscription on some software called Orphonic, and I think you'll agree that the sound is considerably better now. Chica and Sunsets, or Chica actually, have been in contact with Dana to ask what sort of booze I like to drink. Imagine asking my girlfriend what sort of booze I like to drink. And they invited me for some cheese and some wine later in the evening. But first they drove me back to the Lazy Hiker, where I indulged in another hiker burger with fries and a nice beer, sitting with a couple of hikers I knew. In fact, one of them, Andy, had been my partner in the room in Fancy's previous evening, and the other one was a guy called Openheart who was there with his wife, and we had a really nice hour or so together before I went back to Chica and Sunsets. And, I really enjoyed the opportunity not to hike on this day and rest my legs. You really can't hike, well, maybe you can, but I don't think you can hike every day, but I certainly can't. So I've appreciated the opportunity to spend a lot of time in Chica and Sunset's lazy boy leather armchair. Let me tell you, I parked myself in there, I tell you. It was absolutely great. And I just relaxed. And that evening over cheese and wine, Chica asked if I would like her to slack pack me tomorrow morning and hike with me southbound. So I looked at the profile, and that seemed like a really good idea. It gave us a down instead of an up when the up would have been quite tricky. So I immediately said yes. Then I retired to bed and looked forward to being back on trail. I'm at Fancy's place at the moment, and I'm speaking with Steph Plant, or or Fancy.
That's right.
Thanks for doing this, Fancy. You've got a wonderful place here. What was the idea about getting a hostel, and whose idea was it, yours or Pete's?
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
I don't know. We have friends of ours that own a hostel here in Franklin, and I guess just being around them, I did a little bit of shuttling. I just really enjoy being around hikers.
You like being around smelly hikers? I've got to tell you.
I do.
Steph is the first person who's ever shuttled me who didn't wind the window down, which is so impressive, I've got to tell you. So, and the concept, tell everybody what you've got here, because it's a pretty unique setup.
Yeah, it's a 1-bedroom, 2 twin beds. I think it's more like an Airbnb, if you will.
It is.
It's its own apartment. So yeah, I guess we cater more towards people that want like a quieter scene, little,
You ran us into town yesterday, that was great. But the place in it, I've been looking around, it's got absolutely everything you can need. It's even got a Beach Boys record I'd never seen, which was great, and a record player as well.
Yeah, a lot of people actually, they love playing some records down here.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think about how people will come here. So I got off at Rock Gap. You pick up at Rock Gap
and Winding Stair. Yep.
Okay. And you came and got me in the rain yesterday.
Yeah.
One thing you did point out to me, it is co-ed.
Yes.
So I didn't know who on earth I'd be sharing with.
Right.
And luckily Andy, who I'd seen before, was there. So if people are going to be concerned about that, they need to know it's co-ed. But frankly, I know what you've got plans for.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at the divider
Sure.
idea to add some privacy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do let people know it is a
Yes.
co-ed situation.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're kind of learning as we're going and, getting suggestions
Sure.
from hikers. My husband always asks people, what can we do better?
Right.
That kind of thing.
I've got to tell everybody, though, that you've got unquestionably the comfiest sofa I've ever sat in my life.
Yeah.
Probably because I was tired yesterday, I guess. But
Yeah.
So I thought I'd repeat it again this morning, and it was just as comfortable as well.
It is. It'll suck you in, and
And there's a beautiful porch outside where we dried everything off because it's been raining, obviously.
Yeah.
And hopefully we didn't make too much of a mess for you.
No.
What's the plans? I mean, how long are you open in the season? Do you wait for the sailboats to come through or not?
I mean, we'll stay open. I don't know how busy we'll get. We have a couple of other places in town
Right.
that hold a lot of people.
Sure.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. We've only ever done Nobo before, so we'll see what happens.
Is there a season then for you? When would it finish for you?
Probably.
It's quite early in the trail, this, isn't it?
Probably the end of this month, I would assume. In 2024, which was our first year, we only had people into the beginning of May.
Right.
So yeah.
So what's your experience of hikers? Now you've got the hostel as opposed to you thought it'd be a good idea to start with. What is your experience of hikers been so far?
It's hard to put into words. And I mean this 100%. It has restored my faith in humanity. Just
We all need that.
the loveliest people. It's great fun. I love it. I do.
You stay connected to hikers.
Yes.
Because you do hike yourself. But
I hike, but the dream, maybe, I don't know, a through hike, but I certainly enjoy getting out there, and I love talking gear, and I love geeking out. Yeah,
You do like geeking out. Yeah.
So it's great fun for me.
Well, look, I wish you and Pete the best with this. It deserves anybody who's thinking about it. Come and stay here because you're really going to enjoy it. I've had the most restful time, and for that, I thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Cheers. Day 15. Wire Gap, southbound to Rocks Gap, 9.5 mile day. What a wonderful day this was. Greg dropped Chica and me at Wire Gap by about 8:30 and said he'd be back to Rock Gap to pick us up, about 5 or 6 hours later. I could literally hardly feel my pack on my back. And the 700 or 800 foot climb, while not entirely effortless, was eminently doable. The feeling of freedom you get when you've got these small packs on your back is just wonderful. And it was a real treat following, obviously, the day that I hadn't had any pack on my back, so I hadn't been walking the day before. And as I've told you, my method of getting up these hills is to stop regularly. But on this day, I only stopped, 6 or 7 times. And we made it to the top so quickly that Chica was starting to think that we would be way too early for sunsets to pick us up. Fortunately, we'd reckoned without meeting so many other hikers I already knew heading north with their full packs. I don't know what came over me really, I shouldn't have done, but I could not resist showing them the tiny little pack on my back, and we all had a bit of a laugh about it. Chica and I sat down on a log and I interviewed her about what she's been up to these days. I'll play it after this. We continued to meet other people along the way. In fact, the young lady said hi to me and I said hi to her. And then she screamed at Chica because they knew each other very well. And her name was Orange. They'd actually hiked together in the past and they were both really delighted to see each other. It was lovely. It was incredibly liberating and freeing to experience the trail in this way without a big pack and with somebody who knew what the trail's like and had experienced it before. I think the two of them hiked the AT in 2017. They've written some books about it and they're pretty well known on the trail. She and I had a great time. I even managed to introduce her to Dana in a video call while Dana was at work. We made it to Rock Gap about an hour before Greg was due to pick us up, but he arrived after about half an hour and we headed back to their home. So I'd already said I wanted to treat them to dinner for their kindness towards me, and they were just so generous towards me. So I was left with about 2 or 3 hours before we went out. I took a very, very deep sleep on the Lazy Boy before we went out, and I treated them to dinner at a pretty cool restaurant called Cafe Rel. You know, I would not have, I don't think I even would have looked at this place. It's next to a gas station, for a start, and it doesn't look like anything, but you go in there, and the Rel is R-E-L. The original chef, they were his initials. And he provides very reasonably priced Italian cooking, French cooking, and it was really good. And a beautiful crab bisque, which was recommended. And I had linguine carbonara, which was excellent. There was tons of it, but I have this terrible habit of not being able to leave anything on my plate. And I ploughed on through it, and I finished every last bit. And I absolutely loved it. So back at the Airbnb, I repositioned myself on the lazy boy and watched a couple of TV episodes I downloaded before. It had been an absolutely great day. I thoroughly enjoyed spending my time with Chica, and then later with Sunsets as well. It was great. So I'm sitting here slack packing for the first time, which is a real treat, let me tell you. You all need to try it sometime. And I'm with somebody I've never actually met before. This is Chica Beck Seymour. Oh, Chica, hey Chica, how are you?
Hi, Mighty Blue. Yeah,
And
first time meeting in real life.
that's right, yeah, we've spoken, we've been on the podcast and so on. And you suggested to me last night that we go back to, where's it, Y Gap?
Y Gap.
And hike south, which when I looked at the profile was absolutely the right way to go, because we're now going downhill. Is it about a 4 mile stretch? Which would have been an uphill.
Right.
And I've got the lightest possible pack. So what are you doing with your hiking and your adventures these days?
Well, we've, so last year we changed our hostel into an Airbnb because we had our hostel for 5 years, Chica and Sunsets. Yeah. And so the Airbnb is doing great, and we still get section hikers in the Airbnb. And my husband is doing shuttling for hikers full time.
He did 700 miles one day, he told me. I find that hard to believe. That's ridiculous, isn't it?
He's really busy right now. Yeah, this is the season for sure.
Sure.
So we're both liking it. And I'm also working part-time at a little indie bookstore downtown.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, just a couple afternoons a week. And they carry our books, of course.
Of course they do. Every shop I go into has got Chica's books.
And I still have my arm candy business, jewelry business too.
Yeah.
So, and as for hiking, your question, I just did the Foothills Trail for the third time last December. And we don't really have any hikes scheduled, but we do have some bike packing trips scheduled.
Yeah, tell us about that. That sounds like fun.
So we're getting a little bit more into bike packing. We're getting older. So,
come on.
We're still hiking.
I've got 20 years on you, for God's sake. Give it a rest.
We're still hiking, but we're getting into bike packing a little bit. We've done the Katy Trail, which is in Missouri, last year. That was about a week. Very fun. We had a blast. And in a couple months, we're going to do the Silver Comet Trail and the Chief Ladiga Trail, which is outside of Atlanta, Georgia.
And how long are these trails in? I mean, what's a bike packing trail?
The Silver Comet, it's just like 100 miles total, but we're going to do a yo-yo, so it'll be like 200 miles.
All right.
And then in Wisconsin, we're going to do, in June, we're going to Wisconsin. We're going to do a couple short bike pack trails up there.
And what sort of mileage do you tend to do a day?
Not much, like 50 or 60 miles.
Oh, that's enough, man.
Thank you.
But if they're on rail track, not rail tracks,
old railroads, right? So they're usually paved
flat.
Or gravel. Yeah,
right.
Pretty flat. Yeah,
right.
But there's still some inclines.
Right.
Yeah.
So talk about the arm candy business. I saw some of the stuff because I was in the Airbnb last night. So talk about that business.
Yeah, I do kind of a series of hiking adventure jewelry. I melt solder on pennies, and then I stamp them with either the AT symbol, or I can stamp it with like any words you want, like PCT, and I have a little mountain symbol.
Very cool.
And then I make different kinds of bracelets for it to go on with beads and different colors and such. I do necklaces and earrings, a bunch of stuff.
So if people want to find you, where will they find you?
I'm on Etsy under Chica's Arm Candy.
That's great. So is Greg the arm candy these days, or what?
Greg is my arm candy, yeah.
It's funny. We had a great night last night having cheese and wine, and some funny things.
Fun.
Yeah, some funny things were said. Oh dear. It's been lovely hiking with you this morning. We've come out on the most beautiful day, and I think the weather's
It's
now
gorgeous.
set for about the next nearly 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
So if we get another 2 weeks of great weather, I should be well down the trail and hopefully through the Smokies. That's the ambition right now. So I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for
looking
inviting
after
me
us.
to hike with you.
No, it's been great.
Yeah,
really
this
enjoyed
is great
it.
for me.
And we spoke with Dana as well on FaceTime.
Yeah, I met Dana.
That's right. There you
Yeah.
go. Because
She's lovely.
well, funny enough, Chica reached out to Dana to ask what I like to drink. Well,
She's like everything.
everything. Yeah, literally everything. And so that last night when I got there, because she didn't tell her what sort of wine, she had some Merlot, she had some Pinot Noir, she had some Sauvignon Blanc. So we've had the full range, and some Rosé, I think you had as well, didn't you?
And a Riesling.
And a Riesling, that's right. And a bunch of cheese and hams. It was terrific. It's been a lovely stay and I've really enjoyed it. And looking forward to staying tonight and having dinner with you two.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I am too.
Thanks for talking to us. Cheers. So we carried on hiking. And I forgot, I hadn't asked Jen about the other important part of the Chica and Sunsets setup here. Of course, that's her husband, Greg, or Sunsets. What's he doing these days?
So Sunsets is doing shuttling. It's called Sunsets Shuttles. And if anybody needs a ride around Franklin, or he can do it all the way to Springer and as far north to Fontana,
Wow.
you can contact him by text at 715-315-0849.
I'm glad we mentioned him.
And also, if you need information, you can go to our website at chicaandsunsets.com.
There you go. All right. and Greg came to pick us up, and after we did our hike, it's a comfortable ride. It's in a Subaru, and it's a real nice car.
He is.
It was good fun today.
It was a great hike.
Really enjoyed it. Day 16, Wire Gap to Cold Spring Shelter, a 9.9 mile day. Greg drove me back to the trail. It had been such a treat to finally meet face to face these two very, very kind people. So I left them behind, and having had 2 days without carrying a heavy pack, my pack was back on. The first climb was about 1,200 feet, which is quite a long way up. But in I think it was 2.5 miles, it really wasn't as severe as it looked on the map. I'm totally into my method of getting uphill, as you know. Then there was a gentle down before ascending once more to Wire Balds and the spectacular fire tower. I don't know if you've never been up there, if you've ever been up there, but you come to a road and the road leads up to the fire tower. It looks like a great place for a picnic. It was lovely and sunny up there. We had these expansive views across the valley beneath us, and then a little walk up the fire tower. It was just a beautiful place to be. Last time I came here, there was some trail magic, and I must confess, I was rather hoping there'd be some trail magic this time, but there wasn't. But that was fine. I still had about, 6 miles to go to Cold Spring Shelter. And with quite a few people on the trail today, I was eager to move on and claim a spot at the camping sites just north of the shelter. I didn't really know, how many people were ahead of me. I knew I did not want to sleep in the shelter. There's a description on Far Out saying that the shelter is absolutely overrun with mice. And one bloke had to leave in the middle of the night because there were mice all over him. Oh, awful. And I really wanted one of these camping spots. And I remember when I was there last time, it's on a mini ridge behind the shelter. And it's cold up there, and it was cold again, but you've got this great view across the valley below. And I really wanted a good spot there. So I headed out, and I left a bunch of people behind. But the day stayed cool, but sunny still. I was passed by a couple who I hadn't met before, and he told me that there was a possibility, or at least a rumour, that there was trail magic at Burningtown Gap. Now, I looked at Burningtown Gap on the map, and it didn't look to be anything at all. I think it was just the end of a forest road. But I then checked on Far Out, and once again it said from the 7th of April, people will be there doing trail magic for a week. So, if there's anything to give me a boost in my step, it's the prospect of free food. So I headed on. I was motivated even more. And the two who passed me were faster than me, but I pushed on and arrived at Burningtown Gap to find three old guys set up under an awning serving jambalaya. Happy freaking days. These guys were, one was a former thru hiker. He was 68 then when he did the thru hike. He was in his early 70s now. The other two were bikers, the bike riders, not motorbikes, but mountain bikes. They were probably in their late 60s, early 70s as well, but they were still mountain bikers. Just nice, happy guys, really happy to share their experience. They wanted people to talk to. They cooked some great jambalaya and they were generous with it, and there was other snacks as well. Really lovely to meet these guys. They're from Louisiana. The last part of the day was a bit of a slog uphill, but I coped pretty well and got to the shelter around 2:45. I knew exactly where I wanted to camp and headed straight back to the campsite I'd experienced the last time. But there were plenty of camping sites, and I didn't realise, but I was the only one there. So there was absolutely no need to hurry at all. It really is a spectacular spot, though, and I couldn't recommend that place more highly. There's these distant views of towns and mountains in the distance. Fantastic. Eventually, plenty of people turned up and we sat around and cooked dinners together. It was getting cold and the forecast for the morning was even colder, so I soon retired to my tent. So, as I said, a shorter show today, but I feel that the hike's growing in the way that I wanted it to grow. I've already met so many people, and Chica, when I was hiking with her the other day, she remarked how joyous everybody seemed to be. And I thought about that, and she's right. There don't seem to be as many of the uncertainties that I saw back in 2014 and 2019. The people I've met know where they're going, they're enjoying the adventure, and to a person, they're having a blast. And after all, isn't that what it's all about? As for myself, I can tell you that this is shaping up to be the best of my 3 thru hikes so far. Of course, if I don't make it, I may change my mind on that. I'll see you next time.